Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Tharsis. This time we'll be doing a hard mode run with our new Psychologist, which we just unlocked. And you will notice that I've actually chose to omit both the Doctor and the Specialist for both Joy and the Psychologist, mainly because well, firstly, I've established before that the Specialist is not as important with the extra dice roll. I mean, it's sort of like maybe a clutch dice roll for certain situations, but definitely playing without the Specialist will give you a better means of, how to say, it's sort of like a better way of just dealing with the bad luck that comes your way, really. And to have Joy in place of the Doctor, I think it's because, having Joy around to sort of produce additional assists, especially for some of the more tougher, modules which tend to be, like, say, more worrisome, like say if you've got a module with 3 injury dice, then that's definitely, you'll probably want a few more assists with that before you actually go straight in. So that's pretty much my reasoning, and I guess the other thing is that with the Doctor, I found that it's easy. Well, basically at the time I felt that I wasn't using the Doctor as much, and as such I thought, why not give it a go and just see how we do without the Doctor. Of course, this means that basically we need to pay a little more attention to our health, as we can't just easily top you up just by having the Doctor in the same module. So definitely some attention needs to be paid to putting some crew members in the medical bay, and as well as taking advantage of research to give people health. So with that, we've got the captain going first. We had the captain going first in the medical bay. Just trying to think. Well, just trying to recall what I was thinking here. But here, basically, I will just point out that the system fail in the cockpit or in the pilot station. I still need to memorize the names. Is that it does not negatively affect the ship. It's just a damaged module that we can come back to later. So that we can deal with it later. And we've got a fairly unlucky roll with Pacal, so obviously 5 and 6 and we've got to repair 7, so you can see I'm sort of a bit stuck here on what to do. And because Pacal was probably the third person we put in there, so I put the 6 in there because basically we want to 100% guarantee that the next dice roll will be able to actually repair that module completely. So we can put John in there, definitely repair it with 1 dice and use the additional dice for whatever it is that we might need. So with here, with double 5s, we can repair the component and we can actually heal the stress of the crew in the module. I haven't quite completely figured out how the stress mechanism works. I've only really noticed that if it's a little too high, then some of the benefits are quite negative. But one thing I've noticed is that if Joy is low on stress, sometimes you will get a week where you will just get 2 additional assists with no consequences, except maybe that some other crew members may get like 10% stress because of not being picked. So that's definitely one of the things you want to think about. So it's 9 weeks to Mars. We've got two heavily damaged modules. Thankfully I had the opportunity with Pacal to repair 1 HP on the ship, so that gave us a little up that we can leverage to our advantage. So since we've got 3 people all in the laboratory, it makes sense to go with the captain first in order to have the possibility of giving each crew member a dice. Although certainly with a bad roll that left 1 dice voided, and I think yes. So here we take advantage of that. We get 4 dice using the captain. This is why sort of the captain is definitely one of the most or more useful crew members, if not the most useful crew member, especially when you use him well. Although definitely how useful the captain is dependent on who else you have and how you put them all together, because there will be times where you have like each crew member in a different spot and other things like that. So definitely in these situations the captain is handy. So you will notice I re-rolled the bottom. You notice I re-rolled the research mainly because none of them were useful to me at the current time. So it sort of just made sense. Okay, I probably need a few things smaller just to get me by for the time being, because right now I'm not too completely stressed out. like right now I'm not in too much trouble, so I can definitely get by with what I have at the moment and not have to worry about saving up. But definitely having these small research projects can help give an edge every now and then. So we joined with a not so great roll. Used up 2 of our sisters already, but thankfully we've got a better roll the second time round, which will allow us to repair our life support module. My apologies. And get that going. And with Pacal with 5 dice, we can repair the component completely. Maybe get some ship HP and put some extra dice to research. Definitely we can still ignore the system fail in the cockpit. Basically, the only disadvantage is that we won't have the opportunity to minimize movement damage. But truth be told, that isn't really that much of a problem, because if you navigate your crew members correctly, or you manage your crew's health correctly, movement damage is kind of not an issue. A dice disappearing via the void by rolling a 2, but that is kind of a non-issue, as we were rolling 5 dice and we could easily achieve a 7 or more. It would have to be quite a streak of bad luck to get less than 7 with 4 dice. So with that, you can see me just thinking, okay, which do I want to, which ways do I want to allocate the dice? And you see me using the duct tape module actually just to make life a bit easier. One of the things about those modules, especially with, say, like the duct tape or some of the one of the things, with the research, is that with some of the smaller ones, you would definitely want to try and maximize the benefit by using, what's the best way to say, by using a lower number dice with some of them, because, like, say, the duct tape, which is 3 repair, you will ideally want to use it with the 1 or 2 dice, because then you're getting more benefit out of the 1 or 2 dice. But if you use it with the 6 dice, then that 6 would have contributed more to repair to begin with, so that's where it's kind of a not efficient use of resource. 8 weeks to Mars, we've got 18 and a 14, both with 2 hull damage, which is still not all that great, so obviously we must attend to them as soon as possible. Thankfully, it's despite the bad dice rolls, we actually don't have that much to attend to, which is actually kind of a saving grace, really. Although that said, if 2 injuries, and yeah, that was quite a bad dice roll, with 4 dice hitting with 4 dice, all of them getting either injury or stasis, but at least with Pacal we're able to completely repair that component, and by using the quick patch research, we make sure that 3 dice does not go to waste. Alright, I'm not quite sure where we're going next. May as well touch on the Psychologist. So, as you've noticed already, the Psychologist's ability is that he can reduce the stress of crew members in the same module, and the benefit of that, it can be hard to see at first, but you can definitely see the benefits at the end of the week when you have someone who is low stress versus someone who is high stress, in which some of the decisions you need to make is definitely more risky when you have someone with high stress, or even more detrimental to the crew as a whole. Whereas, so by minimizing that stress, you ensure that you have a not so detrimental decisions. So we're having joy in the life support module just to roll some dice for research and to presumably get some assists, so that we can help the captain and the psychologist deal with the BSTC fail in the laboratory. Naturally, we should go with the captain first, so that we can get an additional dice for both the captain and the psychologist, and we have the assists as well that will allow us to basically deal with any nasty dice that may come our way. So thankfully, by rolling a double 6, we are able to repair that module completely, not so much, but I was going to say, unfortunately, we were not able to give both the captain and the psychologist an additional dice, but that 1 die did not go to waste in that we could put it into research. So we've just got the psychologist to go. Common sense will probably say put it in the light module, hopefully roll a dice to get some additional dice for the following week. But otherwise this he's kind of pretty much free going. We're pretty full on ship HP, so it's either rolling for assist, research, or additional dice for the psychologist, because trying to get through with 2 dice is not all that lucky, really. But here, let's see what we get. We get 3 and a 4. Well, the 4 we can put into research. And the other thing is that we rolled a 2. Excellent. That is very nice. More dice for the Psychologist, and we can also use the supplements to get 1 dice for everybody. But I decided to leave that until the following week, did I? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's right. I decided to leave it until the following week just to make sure, like, say, if we had a end of the week deal such as +1 dice for all crew, which you can see on the right, so you can see the +1 crew, which +1 ship, and then all +1 dice for all crew, -2 ship. Since we've got plenty of HP, it makes sense to have dice for everyone, and as a result, we can actually save that research until later, or until the following week, really. So now we have one of these terrible modules with, in the life support area, we've got 3 injury dice, and that's definitely something that needs very careful attention, because a very bad roll can pretty much kill, a very unlucky roll can pretty much kill your whole crew, one crew member in one roll. So that's definitely something we sort of want to avoid. You can see me there just highlighting the life module, just thinking about it and just wondering, okay, what are my chances, what are my odds? Because you have a 1, 2, and 6, that's basically a half chance on every dice to damage our person. And with Joy, obviously our luck is not as prevalent. Well, with Joy, our luck is actually quite low because we've only got 3 HP but 5 dice, and while I can't exactly crunch the numbers in my head that quickly, definitely going first with Joy would not be a good idea. But the one thing to keep in mind is that we may want to roll with Joy, or well, I ended up rolling with Joy. Okay, let's see. Maybe I was just banking. Yeah, this was a huge gamble, I will admit, but I think I was just basically banking on the fact that I had 1 assist. So basically I would need to roll 4 injury dice, or well, I only needed to roll 3 and then 4 injury dice, and I was like, okay, I'll probably just gamble this one. But here you can see me thinking about it for a bit, and oh, that's right, because I have the sport kit that can heal 1 health to 1 crew, and I probably should have used that first. Okay, so let's just see. Popping the 2 into research and with suppression with no movement damage. That was an interesting choice in my opinion, but you can definitely see that I chose not to roll as many. I didn't choose to roll again because I was a bit scared of the damage affecting Joy. So definitely it's yes, we had 1 last dice, which ended up being another injury dice. So I definitely played it a bit safe there, but definitely the first roll, if everything had gone wrong, then Joy would have been dead and I would have quitted the game. I would have rage quitted the game right there and then, but luckily I didn't. So I suppose I'll count that as 1 lucky dice roll for now. Just keeping in mind that my main goal with this series is for me to figure out whether every round is winnable, given the average dice roll. So that's definitely, and part of me is just thinking, okay, maybe I'll just segregate how many lucky dice rolls I get each round, or that sort of thing. I don't know. I just know that this is the question that's actually really encouraging me to play this game right now. So we've got a good roll with Pacal in that we were able to repair this maintenance module completely, and also get 2 ship repair, 2 additional hull points for our ship. And I don't know what to call the ship HP. I keep bouncing between ship HP, ship hull, and that sort of thing. But it's now the captain's turn to brave the dangers of the hugely damaging life support module. But thankfully, with 4 dice and 5 HP, he certainly isn't guaranteed to die on the first roll. So, and thankfully with this roll as well, we're able to repair the module completely, although you can see me thinking whether I should do another dice roll in order to minimize the dice we use. So you can see me popping the 1 into the regain dice just to top up the captain's dice and then rolling again, because when you look at it, the captain's got 3 HP and I had 3 dice. So if I only roll 2 dice, then the captain has a chance of not dying. And as you can see, sort of like the average scenario worked out there with the captain now on 1 HP. So that is somewhat of a relief, but additionally I was unable to give the captain and the fellow crew members an additional die for the following week. So we've got the psychologists who were not really using all that much for psychology purposes, for stress reduction purposes, I should say. So, and they seem to be having a bit of a hard time trying to figure out how I should manage this one. But unfortunately, we were not quite able to. We didn't quite get the dice rolls we need to completely repair the medical bay. And as such, it was almost kind of a problem, but not so much a problem as well, because we were able to get all 6 dice for our research project, which will allow us to completely repair one module. So, and given how much we've been banking on ship pile HP, again, it was something we could afford to lose. So here you can see the benefits of having stress reduction in that we can get some benefits with minimal drawback. So -1 ship HP isn't that huge of an issue for us, as basically we've got so much ship HP anyway, and getting the assist is definitely useful for going through some of the more I've forgotten the word, like perilous areas. So here we've got a 2831, which is some very high numbers. Thankfully, we've got the disaster reduced, and our captain seems to be freaking out a little, which is completely understandable, really, because you still got to keep your cool while you're trying to, tell your crew members to manage the ship and repair the ship. Another thing to point out is that with the 31, with the -1 food, given the fact that we have no food to begin with, we can actually ignore this one until later, or maybe ignore it until the end, but definitely this is something we want to turn our attention to closer to the end, or when we get closer to Mars, because ultimately we will want everyone in the cockpit in the final week. And if people are on 1 HP, then obviously they would not be able to traverse all the way through, so definitely something to keep in mind, but definitely not something that's high on the priority list right now. So, however, one of the things we probably want to pay attention to first is which one we should try and repair first. Should also point out the captain and technician are fairly low in HP, and with a high number of dice, even that single 4 injury dice can definitely kill either one of them if not managed well. So, John with a good roll, and with the event complete, you can see me sort of being stuck there, and then realizing that maybe I should have tried and repair the life support center first before doing anything with John. But nevertheless, we managed to top John's health up, which isn't too bad, but definitely it was not quite the most efficient order or use of resources. That's it. Not that much of a big deal. So by going, that was probably the other thing I was stuck with. I was thinking, okay, the captain and technician, I probably want to move to the health I want to heal them. But now that I've used John in the health, in the doctor, in the medical module, whatever it's called, terrible with names. Whatever it's called, we definitely sort of be stuck for options. So I think I'm just trying to remember what I did here. There's another thing with the system fail in the where Pacal is at the moment. That's definitely something that can also be ignored, but that one probably has a slightly higher priority, mainly because the fact that you can heal 2 ships HP or get 2 hull points for your ship with 2 dice is definitely a bonus. So moving Joy to the maintenance module, thankfully it's a 7 in which we were able to deal with fairly easily, and we're also getting a 6 which will allow us to bank some assists. A 4 dice unfortunately not gonna be all that useful, but we can at least put it in ship repair for another day. So certainly I'm feeling a bit edgy with both Joy and our captain's HP being fairly low with 1 negative hit. Obviously you will kill them both in the process, and here this is where I'm thinking, okay, with 2 assists, probably safe to have the captain roll in this one, or we could definitely move Pacal over there as well. And so I'm just trying to think. Okay, so I decided to gamble again with the captain, and not so much, because I finally remembered the disaster reduce module was there, and I was thinking, okay, let's use that, and then let's actually just roll a whole bunch of dice for research. it's easy to think, okay, putting dice into research is not all that useful, and it's easy to think of research and like say the like each of the modules' unique functions as something that you can only just chuck additional dice into, and yeah, but it should be told when used well and with a good measure of luck, they will actually be fairly useful. So with that, we're free of modules that we can not worry about too much. So here, it probably makes sense for me to move Pacal to either the greenhouse or the life support module, since I don't really have much use for health. Reducing stress probably won't do too much. So yeah, it makes sense for Pacal with only 3 dice to actually make use of his own unique ability, put 1 dice to the life support module, and hopefully fill out the rest of that research. So with the 1 and the 3, I probably could, let's see. I probably could use the energy boost or the supplements, and I think, yeah, okay, so the supplements make the most sense, because then I could use both the 1 and 3. Energy boost could have been the same, so, but I felt the supplements with getting 4 dice to everyone else is definitely much more useful than just filling out Pacal's set of dice. So with 2 assists, we'll definitely gain 1 for the additional week. So it's 5 weeks to Mars, and here again, this is where I emphasize on when keeping stress levels minimal. It's actually pretty good, because with just a minus 30% stress with no negative benefits, with no negative consequences whatsoever, is definitely something to take note of. So 25, 31, 17, 11, but not very noticeable damage to the ship's hull. So this is definitely the game giving us a bit of a break there. Also worth pointing out is that in the research we've got an MCC override, which means that we can fully repair one of these modules. And just trying to think what. Oh, that's right. I was asking myself why would it be normal to go with John first, and basically it's because John's additional role as the psychologist is not as useful anymore, since all my crew members' stress are managed fairly well. And the other thing to point out is that actually you can put the psychologist to use and rely on cannibalism a little early, which I think I do in this game, but I don't quite remember. But that's definitely a strategy you can keep in mind. So it's like, if you end up relying on cannibalism, you can sort of try and wing things so that your psychologist can help minimize that stress, because you definitely can't go over maximum stress. So it's like maybe you want to pile on the stress, then have the psychologist reduce them or something like that. But for now, we don't have much to worry about in the sense that it is just trying to see what I'm doing here now. Trying to decide who goes where next. So with the captain going next, I think the plan was to give Pacal an additional dice, repair the module, and hope and get enough dice into research for the MCC override. So with 3-4, I'm feeling a bit odd, because mainly because 4 is like, well, 4 is higher than 3.5, which is the average, but sometimes you probably want a better dice. So with the 5 and the 3 and the 3 and the 2 and that's right. So we were able to repair it completely, but unfortunately no extra dice for Pacal. So okay. So here I'm thinking about, okay, Joyce, time to heal yourself out. Let's get you off to the medical bay and put some dice into assist, research, and health recovery, which we were able to do quite comfortably. So we got a 4, and we're gonna roll that last dice again to hopefully get a 2 or a 5. And we get a 2, which is working out fairly well for us. I'm just thinking with 17 repair 1 module, so plus if I use the 1, 2, 3, 4 dice, it's 10 for 17, which is definitely a bonus. If I do something with a 5, it's still definitely a bonus, but you definitely do not want to use a 6 with the MCC override, especially with some of the other dice, because then, let's see, 6, 9, 10, 12, okay, it's still some kind of a bonus, but if you end up using a 3, 4, 5, 6 with a MCC override, that's definitely not worth it, because you're using 18 worth of dice for 17 repair. But the difference is quite minimal, so maybe it's not that much of a big deal. So here with not so lucky rolls for Pacal. I think 1 and a 4. I'm just trying to see what I'm using here. Okay, so I used the energy boost and decided to put the 4 into repair. I could definitely use the MCC override and put the 1 and 4 into research as well. This one is, I don't think there would have been any right decision for that one. It was just more that I was just like, okay, you know, may as well top Pacal's dice off for the next week, and that would definitely keep things fairly balanced. So here with 2 health choices, which is a bit weird because both Joy and John are both on maximum health. So it was just really a matter of which negative benefit we're going to afford to take. So I went for ship instead of stress because I was just thinking, you know, we're fine with ships. In hindsight, I probably would have taken the stress because definitely we can deal with it using the psychologist and yeah, but I mean either way, I think we were doing pretty well with a bit to spare. So it was only really and I guess having 2 health is definitely better because definitely we don't want to lose the captain, especially now that we've got a 3 injury dice in the medical bag with a 3 hull damage, which is again not very plentiful to look forward to. Thankfully, we still have the MCC override, which will allow us to heal the commander completely, and by using the hack, we'll have some additional assist that will ensure our captain will not die from having all 4 dice be injury dice. So with 2 5s, 3, and a 1, why am I putting that 1 5? Ah, that's right. Here, this was a bit of number crunching in which I was trying to think, okay, which is the best way to allocate my dice such that I can use the MCC override, put it into repair, and repair the component completely. So as I said before, if you do a 3, 4, 5, 6 as the 4 dice for your MCC override, you're kind of wasting 1, but then it's just 1. And the other thing is that I can use the additional 5 dice to give 1 additional dice to both John and Joy, or for health recovery. So I think this was the decision I ended up doing. Yes, that's right. So, and then we can just use the 1 dice to completely repair the module, and then everyone else in the same module gets a dice, which is definitely very, very useful and definitely, in my opinion, the right decision. Because sort of just healing the captain, I suppose, now that he's repaired that module completely, it can definitely come a bit later. And this is where sometimes you can feel the doctor's not really having that much of an impact, because basically it's only those heavy injury modules that can sometimes be mitigated by having additional assist, which was kind of the reason I had Joy around. So that's definitely one thing you can think about. Here we got a very odd dice roll with a 10 either put into 7 repair, so we can either repair that module completely so that another crew member can focus on something else, or we can get some additional assist and make it easier for the next crew member. So that's what I chose to do. I'm not quite sure if it was the right decision, but I'm just gonna note that we can have Pacal or John remaining. So we could probably put John in the life support module and Pacal in the operations module, and which with 5 dice healing 15 repairing 15 points of damage should be fairly easy, but obviously I did not have quite the luckiest roll there, so by putting 1 4 and rolling the other, I was hoping for some better numbers with not much luck, but nevertheless we were still able to completely repair the operations module and put 1 dice into research. And now we've got John. John gonna do his, well, not so much his role, but definitely help repair the ship. With an exact 3 that we can use definitely, and we can put the 5 in the research and reroll the 1 hopefully for a better number. With a 4, that can definitely go into research, which will definitely keep things topped up. We've still got the 2 damage modules, but right now it's only about 3 weeks to Mars now. And while we're keeping stress levels low, we've still got pretty good deals. So it's really not much to worry about. However, here at this stage, I was just thinking, okay, well, I don't have any food, but I can have, so I think to be safe, and since our crew member stress levels are low, we can rely on a bit of cannibalism to sort of just keep the edge forward a bit, and that's definitely one of the things we can do. So, alright, so with the life support module taking another bunch of damage and now having another bunch of injury dice is definitely very contentious decision there. So just trying to think what I did. Just trying to think what I did now. I do note that I've got 3 assists, which basically means that the captain can definitely survive one roll in there. Although using the captain first, well, the captain can definitely survive one roll in there. But if I get a bad roll, rolling again would definitely be a very risky choice. So I think I might go with Pacal first, which is a bit of an odd decision now that I look back on it. That said, we can completely repair this module or get some additional ship HP. Although I'm just trying to think what I did here. Okay. That's right. Okay, so I held the dice, hold the 6 because I was thinking, okay, let's try and minimize the number of dice we end up using to repair. And thankfully we got the lucky dice roll that we need to do so. So getting the ship 1 additional HP, I was just thinking, oh, well, may as well shuffle our research, because I think I was more interested in getting research components that repair rather than anything else, because they were probably the most easiest to work with, and that I think one thing to point out is that the 3 health kits, or recovering health in the research, is actually not as prominent nor as efficient, and yeah, I haven't thought too much about that just yet, but okay, so we've got John rolling a bunch of red dice now, which is, look, it's kind of pretentious, really. So, but thankfully we can completely repair this module with 2 dice, which is rather optimal. So, and but unfortunately, this is the last roll, meaning that what am I doing here? Okay, so I used 3 dice to fully repair the module, and of course, there could be a more efficient use of dice if I put the 5 and a 4 into the repair and getting the and putting the 2 and 3 into research. But getting the assist is definitely handy, especially for dealing with the medical bay, which with the -2 health to all, if we don't deal with it, then our captain's gonna die, unless we heal the captain, which I don't think is gonna happen. I mean, we could use the health kits. That's right, the health kits is basically our clutch. So, but obviously more as a last resort. So definitely with 2 5s and 2 1s, not a very lucky roll either. So it definitely makes sense to. Okay, yeah, I was just trying to think, should I put the 5 into repair or should I get 2 assists? And here, so here you've got. So here I've been thinking pretty hard. Well, I'm putting the 5. That's I completely forgot now that there was a repair module. So now that we've got override, we've got some assists, and that was basically because I didn't want to put the 1 dice to waste. So thankfully our captain is saved for another week. Coming, and thankfully we can hopefully take this opportunity to get a little more research and to maybe heal the captain up completely. So I think that's what we'll do exactly here. So let's see, a 2, 2, 3, and a 4, not very good roll, so I've decided to roll the whole thing again. But with the 2, 3, 4, 5, there's definitely 4 dice into research and 1 into health recovery. So our captain's finally healed up, so that will definitely be very, very handy for the remaining few weeks. So just taking a look here, +1 for -2 dice, -20% stress for all crew, -1 ship, and then that was definitely the safer decision in my opinion. So yeah, you can see me deciding should I use the last piece of meat for cannibalism. With Pacal getting a piece of meat, we've got people very high on the stress levels now, but at least in the operations center at the bottom, we have another issue that we don't necessarily need to deal with, but the airflow fail in the medical bay, which seems to be taking a lot of damage lately, is definitely something that needs a bit of paying attention to. So really the question is, which one do I go with first? One could put the psychologist in first, or one could put the captain first, but I think with the psychologist going first make the most sense, mainly because we can go with the captain next, and then give 1 additional dice to additional people. But also with the psychologist, I decided to take the advantage to reduce the stress, just to make the deals better the following week. One thing I've said about stress before is that if you have 1 or 2 crew members which are low in stress, chances are you'll probably get a fairly good deal at the end of that week. which you can consistently take when comparing to like the other crew members which have higher stress, which will obviously have a deal that is not as ideal. So thankfully we had enough dice to completely repair the medical bay, but at least now HP is not something we need to worry about, which I'm thankful for. And I suppose I have to be thankful to myself, and now that sounds really self-serving and selfish, but oh, the things that I say when I'm not thinking. Thankfully, we've only got Pacal and Joy, which is actually more than I expected. So really, this is something extra that we can now work on, maybe dealing with the greenhouse, or just repairing the remainder. So next is probably Pacal, and I guess I was just thinking about, okay, well, I've got a 1 in 4 injury dice in the greenhouse. That's definitely something I want to be wary about. Although the other thing I could do is that I can get additional ship hull just to like really make sure that that I could just like really make sure that on the last week the ship won't just randomly break apart. So here I decided to put Joy into the maintenance module, in which just to bank up some additional assist, some additional ship HP, and some additional research. So you can see me sort of just rolling the dice, hoping for something good, and we've actually 4 6s. With 4 6s, with 4 6s is definitely some kind of advantage that we definitely can use to our advantage. So moving Pacal now to the greenhouse, especially when I mentioned before about clearing the area between the greenhouse and the pilot center, the command center. I don't remember what it's called anymore. But yeah, with that we've got not quite the best roll now, in that we get 2 6s and okay. I thought both ones were in stasis, but I didn't realize they were used up by the assist. So with a rather contentious roll, ultimately 4 6s and 1 1. Not the best, but definitely not the worst either. So it's the final week. You can bet I'm feeling pretty relieved by then. So here taking 1 fruit made sense, because we basically had the captain and the psychologist missing 3 dice, which, you know, we may as well just top off and use. And thankfully everyone is fairly full on HP, so traveling will actually not be all that much of an issue. So as you can see, let's just take a look at the damage. Any crew inside flight control? It's called flight control. Ooh, okay. So you can see we can just move everyone to flight control and pretty much just roll for whatever. We've got no hull damage to worry about. We've got no negative benefits to worry about. We've got no health or assist to worry about. So everything else is smooth sailing, and we'll just fast forward this all the way to the ending score screen, which is. Alright, and looking at the ending score screen, 1637, which is not all that bad. It definitely could have been better if we didn't have to rely on human meals, but nevertheless, I'm pretty happy with this hard mode run. Definitely, the psychologist is probably not as useful as some others, but it was just fun playing around with him, and I'm glad to have completed a mission with him. So, just one more to go from memory, the cannibal, which is going to take a while to actually build up, so I would definitely be playing some other runs in the meantime, where maybe I would just try going without the captain, or something else. Oh, I forgot there's also the commander as well. So yeah, while I work towards unlocking the cannibal and completing the mission with the cannibal, I will definitely sort of challenge myself with some other runs. So with that, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video.